Hello, I'm Doug DeWitt, Transfer Paper Product Manager here at Condi Systems, welcoming you to another tutorial video in our series on Forever Paper products. And to help me with this video, flying all the way in from Germany, is my friend and colleague, Christopher Segman with Forever Paper. Chris, thank you so much for coming in today.
It's always great to be here, Doug. Thank you.
The reason I have Chris coming in today is because I explained to Chris that while the Forever products that we carry, the Forever FlexSoft No Cut, which is your self-weeding vinyl compatible with any laser printer, correct? And then we also have the Forever Low Temp Laser Dart, which is primarily made for the Oki white toner printers. We've got a lot of clients out there that are very successful with these products. However, with any self-weeding product, there is a little bit of a learning curve involved. And we know many of you out there in Condi TV are eager to get into this white toner technology. So I brought Chris in today so he can go over his best tips and tricks working with FlexSoft material and low temp material so that you can basically ramp up your education time, so to speak, learning how to use these products quickly, and you could reduce those wasted shirts to bad attempts. So now that Chris is here, I'm just going to let Chris take over from here. Chris, what do you have on tap with us today?
So for today, we have a little bit of tips and tricks, some little tweaks that will make you successful, make a huge difference. It's often just a little tiny corner that you have to lift up, a little flatter angle that you have to peel the paper from off the t-shirt. It makes a huge difference in the final result. So to show you this, let's move over to the heat press.
Yeah, let's jump on the heat press. Let's show you how this is done.
So, Doug, the first thing that you want to take care of is that you pre the lower platen. When it's ice cold, the first thing you start in the morning, just take your heat press, give it a short press when it's empty for about 30 seconds up to a minute.
So make sure you preheat the bottom platen.
Exactly. You can test it while touching the lower metal. When it's warm, lukewarm, it's fine. Lift it up, and it's ready to go. Especially with the laser dark low temp, you have a clear film, so you can't see which side is the right side to face up, especially when you don't have any text. So this could be the right side facing up, or this. To make sure you have the right side facing up, take a corner and scratch the paper. When you can scratch it, it's the side that you've printed on. Next thing you want to do is put the B paper on top, the emulsion film. Put that on top. Just make sure that you cover the complete design. We just cover this up with a little bit of Teflon, parchment paper, copy paper, just to protect the heat press, and we're ready to roll. So we're pressing this now at 300 degrees for the Forever Low Temp and at 275 for the Forever FlexSoft for 90 seconds. What's happening now is the adhesive gets molten, gets liquid, and builds up connection to the toner. We'll open the heat press in about 90 seconds, and I'll show you the perfect way to peel the paper. 4, 3, 2, 1. So we made 90 seconds. We lift up the heat platen and move it to the side. So now we have full access to the platen. That's why I love swing away heat presses. It gives you full access, an easy way to work. We put away the protective paper. The best way to peel it is pull towards you, not away from you. I'll show you later on why we're doing this. Also take one corner and lift that corner up. Hold that in your hand. Don't pull it down, otherwise you burn your fingers. You have a fair amount of time, but make sure that you peel it while it's warm. Peel it in a flat angle, just like this. Don't stop. Keep the same angle all the time. And at the very end, when the image ends, you slow down just a little bit. We slow down because here we tend to go more vertical up instead of horizontal, and we don't want to lose a little image. There we go, perfectly done. We can see if it was successful when we don't have any speckles on our B paper. Then we have a clean transfer, and the backside is covered with the white emulsion sheet. That gives us much more vibrant color. So this is ready to transfer.
So Chris, now that you showed us how to successfully peel, show us some of the common mistakes that beginners do whenever working with low temp laser dart.
Absolutely. We are right before they open the press, so let me show you this. When we open the heat press, the lower platen and the paper is pretty warm. So most common mistakes are you take the paper and push it down. So you burn your finger. So when you burn your finger, you don't have the patience to peel it slowly. You peel it in a rush. When you peel it in a rush, you might lose more details. Also, you tend to lift it up because you are in a rush. When you peel it away from you, you start to peel it more vertically up, then you might lose little details over here, or it gets too cold like we've seen over there. So what can happen is, especially when you peel it in a rush, you lose small details like dots and small lines. When you lift it up, especially at the very end when the paper has a chance to cool, the adhesive, the emulsion, gets too cold, solidifies, and it rips off the print. So these are the most common mistakes.
So that's why we always need to let the A film rest against that hot bottom platen.
Exactly.
So we don't nip the corners like we did at the top of that skull.
Exactly. Sometimes it's bad like this, sometimes a little bit less. You just have a little nip. But every time you have a nip, you either peel too cold, you lift it up from the platen, or you peel it too fast at the very end. So take your time, lift it up at the corner so you don't burn your fingers, and you have a little bit more time to peel it off.
Those are some good tips. Hey Chris, I noticed you got a white-only graphic there with the Forever Low Temp Laser Dark. We have a lot of clients in the beginning that struggle with applying white-only graphics. So cover your best tips to get a white-only graphic onto a dark garment.
Absolutely, Doug. So on a white-only graphic, we have only white. White tone is very special. It's very unique. It has a different chemical composition. So there are little tricks when you have white-only graphics. So the first one is, as usual, make sure the right side is facing up, scratching the corner. See that the printed side is facing up, putting the B paper emulsion sheet on top, as you're used to. Cover it up with some parchment, Teflon, or copy paper, whatever you have at hand. Close the press, and here it gets important. Increase the pressure a little bit.
So you increased your pressure one revolution turn.
One revolution turn compared to a colorful graphic, because white has a different density. And the different density means that the B paper has a harder time to attach to it and build a connection to the artwork. So we open the heat press, put it to the side as usual, put away the protective paper. Remember, peel towards you and lift up the corner so you don't burn your fingers, and peel it in a flat angle, slow and fluid movement. The difficulty in white is that it's quite hard to detect if you have a successful transfer or not just by looking at the A foil, because the adhesive is white and the toner is white as well. A good way to detect if you have a successful transfer is looking at the B paper, the emulsion sheet.
So if you have any leftover emulsion on that B sheet, then you're probably going to have a dropout when you try to apply your design?
Absolutely. Let me show you that close up. Here we have two transfers, 2 times the emulsion sheet used. On your left-hand side, you will see that the B paper, the emulsion sheet, came out smoothly. When we look here on the right-hand side, we can see some speckles in there. That's an indicator that the adhesive, that the emulsion didn't transfer properly to the white toner. You can barely see it at the printout itself because the emulsion and the toner are white, so you don't have any contrast, but you can see it on these papers. Can you see the difference, Doug?
I see the difference. So basically, increase the pressure when we're dealing with a white-only graphic.
Increase the pressure, exactly. Then you force more reaction, more chemical reaction in between the emulsion sheet and the toner. Another thing that you can do is increase the white toner on the printer panel. Just +1. It usually brings out more white toner, so we have a higher chemical reaction.
If you're using the Forever Transfer Rip, what percentage of white channel control do you recommend using?
When it's pure white graphic, minimum 100, better 150. You can't increase the amount of white in transfer rip only to a certain level, to the maximum output that the printer is programmed to, but you can change it on the printer panel itself.
Okay, so while using a little bit more white toner is helpful, mainly it's a pressure issue when we're mirroring the A foil and B sheet.
Exactly. So cranking up the pressure from A to B helps a lot. When you have this issue on the heat transfer paper already, you can't save it anymore. So make sure that the pressure is right when you transfer from A to B.
So the main thing is make sure you study the B sheet after you peel to double check and make sure you got a clean release of the emulsion.
Absolutely, that's a good point.
So Chris, this was our design with the supposed bad weed attempt. Show us what happens when we have a bad weed with a white-only graphic.
Pleasure. So what you feel is that you have more resistance when you beat it off. And some parts, especially where there's no adhesive on the back side of the paper, will just stay on the A film. Especially on her face, over here, you can see that the white toner sticks to the white foil because there's no adhesive on the back side to back it up. So it has no connection to the paper. So this is what happens.
And you said most of these issues, whenever we have a bad attempt with a white-only design, it relates to pressure when we're weeding.
It relates to pressure when we're weeding, exactly. Let me show you a good attempt. So here we can see that we have clean edges. We don't have these drop-out spots in her face, in her body. Let me just show the other side. Here we have these dropouts, especially here in the face on the left-hand side. Well, here everything is nice and clean. So this is just with a little bit more pressure during the process from A to B.
And as far as that pressure setting, if you're getting good weeding attempts with a color and white design, but you're doing a white-only graphic, we're saying increase the pressure by 1 revolution
One
turn.
revolution turn is usually fine.
If you have an air-operated heat press, would you say we're bumping the pressure up by an extra 10 to 20 psi?
Absolutely, that sounds lovely.
So Chris, cover some other tips and tricks that beginners need to know when working with Forever Low Temp.
So Doug, very important is that you have to clean the edges. When you look closely to the edges, you see sometimes a white line from the emulsion sheet. When it gases out, it leaves a little white line. So good practice is, also when you don't see the lines, just trim the edges. With a good sharp scissor, just go roughly around it.
So you don't have to cut all the way to the graphic.
No, it's actually better to leave some extra space. It eases the peeling technique, the peeling process afterwards.
Gotcha.
So, just like this. Let's say you put a little bit of this white adhesive on your garment. There's a way to remove it. Let me show you this. So, here we have the t-shirt after the press, after we applied the transfer onto the garment. Very important here, peel it cold. It doesn't matter if you peel it absolutely cold after 5 minutes or cold after 5 days. There is no penalty in letting it sit there for too long. Just make sure it's nice and cold. When you peel it towards you, then away from you. When you peel it towards you, you have a nice flat angle. Make sure that you roll it off. Can you hear that? It's just slightly crackling, so it likes the peel. When you peel it horizontally up, the crackling noise becomes much louder. Let me show you this. This is a sign that the paper is screaming. It doesn't like it, so you might lose some small details. Roll it back, nice and smooth. And it's much less resistance, much easier to peel. There we go. So this would be the perfect peel. Let me show you one more thing. We attached here a little white line down here that we forgot to cut. So just take this one here off. Now you might think, oh no, I ruined a shirt. There's a way to get this white line off. Let me show you this. So you basically take regular heat tape, sublimation tape, apply it onto it, fold it here a little bit so you can grab it on later on. And while this here is very shiny and very glossy, it needs a repress to get a matte finish and a softer finish. We just press this together with it. So here we see our t-shirt right before the finishing press. We have different options for our finishing press, either a matte finish with a parchment paper, a baking paper, or a more glossy finish with a glossy finishing paper, a silicone paper, or a Teflon sheet. In this case, we're going to decide for a matte finish, we're going to use the parchment. And you probably remember this heat-resistant tape over here to get rid of the borderline. While we're repressing it and do the finishing press, we just press it together with it. We just give it about a 5 to 10 seconds finishing press. This drives a bit deeper into the garment, gives it a much softer touch, takes off the shine of the print, and increases our washability dramatically.
But we want to do a finishing press with every transfer, correct?
Absolutely, with every transfer. So when you take this off, we can see the shine is mostly gone. Now as long as this tape is hot, we just take off the white border.
That is cool.
And we have finished our shirt. Nice and soft, and very important to repress it to increase the washability. So Doug, here's another tip. When you apply it to the garment and you trim your edges, don't trim too close to the design. The reason is we need some space to roll it off. The more space we have, the easier it becomes to roll off the paper. So we can even transfer these little details over here.
So if we don't leave enough space, some of the design may stay to the film?
May stay to the film. You can repress it, but it's much easier when you give it a little bit extra space, like over here, because at the very end, especially at the end over here, the paper tends to flip. Then you might lose a little dot or a little edge. So basically the production process is almost the same for laser dark as for FlexSoft. When we peel in a flat angle with laser dark, with low temp, we also peel in a flat angle for FlexSoft. Just like this, flat angle. Try to have as less reflecting noise as possible. What you can do when you have hard corners, like pointy edges, do the corners first, like over here. So you avoid losing these when you have a too tight angle. Start rolling it back. Keep it tight to the shirt, more like a rolling technique, and slow down when you have tight edges. That's all you need to know for FlexSoft. Otherwise, exactly the same process. So, as you probably know, you can transfer laser dark, low temp, as well as FlexSoft no cut onto different kind of materials. May it be felt, may it be paper and cardstock like over here, may it be leather, as you probably know, also cotton. But you can also transfer it onto dark poly garments. Make sure that you check the garment quality first, either the inside label over here, or sometimes it's hidden in the inside over here. In this case, we have a 100% polyester garment. While we're pressing cotton with about 300 to 320 degrees with low temp, we press polyester just with 270. So let me show you what happens when you press it too hot. I set up the heat press to 320 degrees and I press 1/2 down to the shirt so you can see what happens. So I pressed now both sides with different temperatures onto the same polyester garment over here. What you can see here on our left hand side is 320 degrees, which is actually for cotton shirts. On the left hand side 270 degrees, both times 30 seconds press. We can see that our colors are much more vibrant with a lower temperature than with 320 degrees. So what's happening over here is, on polyester garments, they are often dyed with so-called sublimation dyes. When sublimation dyes get heated up over a certain point, they gas out, and these gases will migrate into our print colors. So especially our light colors, like our white and our yellows, will somehow fade because the sublimation dyes immigrates into our light colors.
Wow, Chris, thank you so much for coming in today and showing us these tips and tricks with the Forever Low Temp and the Forever FlexSoft material. Even I myself learned a few things that I might have been doing wrong that's going to save me from making a lot of mistakes in the future.
Yeah, it was a pleasure being here this time.
So what we want to do now is quickly review the tips and tricks that we feel you need to take away from this video. First tip and trick that I would say is make sure you preheat your bottom platen, correct?
Yeah.
How long should we go?
About 30 seconds, sometimes 60 seconds if your heat press heats up slowly, but 30 seconds is fine for most presses.
So make sure you preheat your platen, and when you are peeling your B sheet from your A foil, we want to go low and slow, rolling the B sheet off the A foil, correct?
Absolutely, and it's better to do it top to bottom, roll towards you, so you always have a flat angle.
Now, another tip you need to know is when you're working with a white-only graphic in the Forever Low Temp Laser Dark, increase the pressure on your platen from where you would normally have it set working with a color and white design, correct?
Absolutely. Usually on a Geonite heat press, like over here, the DK20S, one full rotation is absolutely fine.
Yeah, if you have an air-operated press, go up about 10 or 15 PSI and try that. Now, when we remove the B sheet from the A foil, we want to trim that A foil, correct?
Absolutely, because otherwise we see these white indentation lines on every corner.
Okay, and if we do get one of those indentation lines, you showed us a nice tip of removing it with the heat tape.
Yes, I hope people like that one. You can do the removal step in the same procedure as to do the finishing step, so it's not additional work.
Now, another thing that you need to remember is be mindful of the application temperature depending on the material content of the garment. You're going to use a different temperature when you're going to 100% cotton than you are 100% polyester.
Absolutely. We have a temperature range from 210 degrees Fahrenheit up to 320 for different materials. In the example of polyester, we have a range of 250 to 270. for cotton about 300, 320. So be mindful and check the labels on the garments.
And remember, always check your instructions before applying a design. Remember to check with your account manager or go to condi.com for the latest instructions, not only on the Forever FlexSoft, but on the low temp laser dark. And finally, our last tip is we always want to do a finishing press no matter the product, correct?
Absolutely. This improves the feel so much. It makes it soft, makes it look more valuable, and it improves the washability greatly.
So I hope this video will help you be more successful when using Forever paper products. But should you have any question about the procedures that we covered in this video, don't hesitate to contact our tech support department direct at 1-800-826-6332. Also, make sure to tune in to Condi TV for more instructional videos, tutorial videos, and product announcements. Speaking of, what do you have for us in the next video?
So, for the next video, we're going to show a nice little software that allows you to do these large prints. So, stay tuned in.
That video is going to be called IC Split, a brand new software product that comes from Forever Paper, so make sure to tune in to Condi TV to learn all about it. So until then, I'm Doug DeWitt.
I'm Christopher Siegmann.
And our time is up. We thank you for yours.